Welcome back to yet another episode of the Business Headlines. From this episode, we shall be airing fortnightly. Moody's Analytics upgrades India's gross domestic product growth to 12% in 2021. Initially stating last November that India's gross domestic product will grow to 9%, this has now changed to 12% as the economy has turned more favorable. The strong yearly growth is partially the result of a low-based year comparison. The forecast is equivalent to real gross domestic product in level terms, growing by 4.4% above pre-COVID-19 levels, said Moody Analytics. Although a key risk now is a second wave of the COVID-19. Domestic and external demand has been on the mend since the easing of restrictions, which has led to improved manufacturing output in recent months. Additionally, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development said the Indian economy is expected to grow to 12.6% in the financial year 2022. This is the highest amongst the G20 countries. India emerges as a global hotspot for commercial real estate investment. The government has eased the statutory debt funding requirements, so foreign investors will now be able to put in their money more easily and also pitch in with their international expertise in management of trusts such as Real Estate Investment Trust, where investors in the country can look forward to higher yields. Many fund managers and even foreign portfolio investors, as well as foreign institutional investors, have gained immense experience and expertise in overseeing the operations of such trusts. India's Supreme Court waives compound interest on all loans put under moratorium due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Supreme Court in India has ordered the waiver on interest on all loans under moratorium, irrespective of the loan amount. The court has suggested that compound interest may be charged on deliberate defaulters with no further extension of the moratorium period or the offer to restructure loans. Borrowers will still, however, have to pay the interest on the principal amount even during the moratorium period.
When business is on your mind, you are on our mind. Sarovar Hotels and Resorts.
Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited secures first ever overseas solar project. The company has bagged its first ever overseas order for a grid-connected solar power project in the Mauritius. The contract was awarded by Central Electricity Board Green Energy Company Limited, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the government of Mauritius. This project will be executed by Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited's Solar Business Division in Bengaluru and the International Operations Division in New Delhi. High Court stay order restraining Future Retail to go ahead with Reliance deal. The massive deal amounting to Rs 24,713 crore between Future Retail and Reliance Retail received a stay order by the Delhi High Court. This deal was objected to by US-based e-commerce giant Amazon. Amazon has also issued a notice by a division bench of the Chief Justice D.N. Patel and Justice Jasmeet Singh, challenging the single judge's judgment on the deal on March 18. It also stated that the single judge order asked for attachment of assets of Future Group's Kishore Biyani and others, directing them to appear in court on April 28. China was India's top import source despite LAC crisis. China continued to remain on top of the list of countries from where India imports goods, even though the country's troops were engaged in violent clashes in the Galwan Valley. Last year, India imported goods worth $58.71 billion from China. The top 5 countries where Indian imports from are China, the United States, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq. And these are mostly for telecom instruments, computer hardware, fertilizers, organic chemicals, customer electronics, and electrical machinery. Mutual funds, net sellers of Indian equities, first time in 7 years. With over rupees 1.27 trillion sold so far in 2020-21, Mutual funds are said to be net sellers of Indian equities for the first time since the last 7 years. Mutual funds have been net buyers in the previous 6 financial years. The last time mutual funds offloaded Indian equities was in the fiscal year 2014. RuPay set to expand credit card business in India. Driven by the government's financial inclusion drive, RuPay has gained a sizable market share since its introduction 9 years ago. Although accounts opened under the Jan Dhan scheme get RuPay debit cards, credit cards are still considered a niche product in India. India to be part of Cisco's $5 billion funding for 5G projects. Cisco Systems Inc. will invest part of its $5 billion budget for funding projects for 5G globally in India to help telecom operators. The investment will help Indian telecom operators in building crucial wireless components, transport, mobility, and security solutions. Companies like Reliance Jio, Infocom Limited, Bharti Airtel, Vodafone Idea, Tata Communications, and Sci-Fi are some of the companies that are currently using Cisco products and solutions. Cisco is currently working with telecom companies to build the back-end network for 5G connectivity, which will require large-scale deployment of optical fiber cable and towers.
When business is on your mind, you are on our mind. Sarovar Hotels and Resorts.
Over 280 companies declared bankrupt amid the pandemic. The national company law tribunals across the country admitted to a total of 283 insolvent companies amidst the pandemic. These companies pertain to defaulters made before March 25, 2020. The Minister of State for Corporate Affairs, Anurag Thakur, said that between April 1st and December 31st, 2020, a total of 76 corporate insolvency resolution processes ended in resolution. 128 were closed due to withdrawal, appeal, or settlement, and 189 companies were liquidated. 50 global investors made their first Indian investment in 2020. Venture capital and private equity investments surged in 2020 with investments worth $41 billion across 831 deals. These deals were primarily in telecom and retail segments, with Reliance Jio and Reliance Retail leading the charge with $16 billion in venture capital and private equity investments, according to a report by Prakshi Global Alliance. India's growth trajectory is expected to be the third largest economy by 2030, with a GDP of $7 trillion with robust activity in public and private sectors. With more than 50 international and over 20 Indian investors making their first Indian venture capital and private equity investment in 2020, investors have an optimistic outlook for 2021.
India, incredible India.
If you like this episode, do share your feedback in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and we'll see you soon.